Under starters orders, and away we go for a Friday edition of Extra Time. Craig Burley and Shaka Hislop, who's resplendent in his West Ham maroon. Or is it Colorado? No, it is West Ham. There it is. Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Looking a little drier than yesterday, Shaka. I'm glad to report.
I couldn't see that. I could only see part of that for a minute, Shaka, and I thought it said Man United.
No, Craig.
Well, our first question does have a Man United element to it. Oh, God, this is a tough one. If you could choose 2 out of the players listed to make up a centre-back partnership, who would you choose? Your choices are Mustafi, David Luiz, Phil Jones, or Dejan Lovren. That is a rogues gallery there for... you got to pick 2 of them.
Okay, I got to pick 2 of them. I would probably pick... Wow.
Not easy, is it?
No. I would probably pick David Luiz, even though I don't really want to. And then I think I would go with...
This is an arm behind the back, like twist your arm.
Or Lovren.
Lovren and Luiz, eh? Okay.
All right, I'll go for the L's. Lovren and Luiz.
Okay, the L team.
That's going to give me the heebie-jeebies the night before a game.
Shaka, how would you like to have those 2 in front of you?
Yeah, not very much. This is the first time we've got a question on Extra Time, and you want to say, can we come back to this later? Give me some time to think about it. I'm going to go Mustafi and the Lovren that we've seen of late, not the Lovren that we saw a year, 2 years ago.
All right. Medu, meanwhile, wants to know whether Chelsea need a new midfielder, Craig, if Jorginho does in fact leave.
Well, you'll have N'Golo Kante to play the defensive role, which looks likely. Billy Gilmour's come in, but he's a young man learning the game, and that's a lot to ask, but he'll get some game time. Kovacic is there. Barkley's had game time. Loftus-Cheek is back, although he's more attacking. But yeah, I suppose the answer would be to have protection, if Frank Lampard says it that way. If there is an injury to N'Golo Kante, they're kind of going to be stuff for somebody who can play a deeper lying midfield role and protect that back 4. So I would say if he leaves, the answer would be yes.
Not going to have any money left, though, are they, Shaq? Signing every German striker that's out there?
That's the truth. And I think they've done well in the transfer market, or what we've had of a transfer market so far in coming in. I'm not sure that they necessarily need to add to who they have coming in. I'm gonna go for no. I've never been a Jorginho fan.
All right. Soccer. I'm jumping ahead one. Hislop Sharkbake is back. Craig, maybe you be able to answer this from personal experience. Who was the best slide tackler of all time? The good art, the fine art of a slide tackle is almost a lost art, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's an endangering opponent these days if you listen to people say you're not allowed to do it. Well, I would pick a centre-half out, but I have to think off the top of my head. I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just Shaq, help me out.
There was a lot of...
I can.
I was going to say, I don't know if this is coincidence, I saw a lot of Fabio Cannavaro stuff out there on Twitter just a couple of days ago, and he was a great slide tackler.
Well, you're a bit older than both of us, Adrian. So
a bit.
You remember him better than Craig and I do. Without young
ago, is it? Soccer Amaretto Line, meanwhile. Craig, what's the best game you've ever done commentary for? And I know what it wasn't. It wasn't our Spal Cagliari game from about 10 days ago. That was up there. But I know,
I enjoyed it. The best game I've ever done commentary on would be... Well, the biggest game was the World Cup final in 2010, but it wasn't the best game for sure. We'll all remember that Spain... was it Spain-Holland?
Yeah, Spain-Netherlands.
2010. I don't know what the best game was. The best atmosphere and the best seats of your pants, adrenaline, emotion. The game that had everything was the Manchester City game against QPR, where Aguero scored that goal in injury time to get City over the line. Do you remember? Was it 2012?
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah.
2012. Yeah. I was doing that game for the Premier League with Peter Drury, and I've never seen emotion like it, because here we had Man United winning at Sunderland and City were literally throwing it away against a QPR team who were down to 10 men with Barton sent off, against relegation threatened cannon fodder QPR at the Etihad. And they needed 2 goals with 4 minutes to go. They needed 2 goals in injury time. I mean, fans were crying. I think Mancini was on his knees beneath me on the, in the touchline. But people just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And for just pure emotion, Adrian, I've never seen such a swing. And literally the Premier League was won with almost the last kick of the ball. And I think to get that drama again would be, from a commentary perspective, would be quite difficult.
Yeah. I remember it very well, Craig, because I was waiting in Philadelphia ready to do a Union game. It was a double-header off the back of that City QPR game. And we had to follow that with something very different. Shaka, you've done a few games of your time. Anything stand out?
Nothing jumps out, certainly not in the way Craig described. I think the big challenge to the games I've commentated on is we do it from studio. And as good a game as it may be, and as intense as the atmosphere may get, nothing beats being there, as Craig was on the sideline. You know, we were in a studio, and sometimes it's next to you, Adrian. And, you know, as much as I enjoy sharing a booth with you, Adrian, it's just not the same.
I will tell you this, the best game I've ever done out of a studio involved you, Shaka. You're not going to want to hear it. It was the FA Cup final, 3-3. 2006. That was a brilliant game to call.
I think the trouble is, guys, and I don't know about you, Shaq, but certainly for me, before moving to the US, there were so many games done from on site, from radio, from BBC Radio 5 Live to the Premier League, to all these different broadcasting networks, that there probably has been better games between bigger clubs. I would physically have to sit and go back and scroll through it all, because, as you know, guys, we do so many over the years. Sometimes we just can't remember some of the best games. It's just the way it is. It's quite difficult sometimes. I mean, I'll give you an example. Just in terms of my playing days, I never thought I'd ever played at Bramall Lane, where Sheffield United play. And I look back in the archives about something, and there I was, named in the Chelsea team, playing at Bramall Lane. I've no knowledge of that. I can't remember. So there's probably some games out there where it was absolutely brilliant. I just can't remember.
Right. Moving on. Go on.
But I can tell you, it wasn't the Spal Calgary game.
Come on.
And it wasn't the Bologna Calgary game.
I tell you what, Craig, I can bet I can beat Spal Cagliari. So a few years ago, I did a commentary for a Champions League. It was Juventus against Real Madrid. I remember the game well. So did that, then did the show, and then had to wait through on a night to do a 10 o'clock kickoff in the CONCACAF Champions League. I kid you not. Let me tell you something. There is nothing worse. I unashamedly admit now that I fell asleep in the booth.
Well, I can tell you, I can go better than that. Derek Ray and I, we did back in the ESPN UK days. For some reason, the UK side of the business, as it was then, picked up a winter break game with Celtic in Spain somewhere, playing against some side nobody'd heard of, right? So Derek and I are in the booth, because it's off tube, in London, and we're doing this game, and clearly, you know, we're not taking it serious, but I'm taking it even less serious than him, because you know what Derek's like. So he's at least trying to take it serious. I've given up. And the broadcaster, whoever it was, I think it was picked up by Turkish TV rights or whoever it was, but whoever was host broadcasting it, every now and again, and we were not aware this was happening, there would be like an advertisement would squeeze into the TV, and it was almost like a Popeye advert for something in Turkey. And I was just absolutely ripping this to shreds. And I wasn't on Twitter at the time, Ed, but Derek was getting tweets off Celtic fans complaining that I wasn't taking it serious. I couldn't stop laughing. Of course I wasn't taking it serious, right? Honestly. We've done some games, you know, over the years.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Dan, the Orange Man, is back. Shaka, should Spurs sign Danny Ings as a replacement for Harry Kane if he does indeed up and leave?
Listen, Danny Ings has been sensational, but he's not a replacement for Harry Kane. Let's be honest. I mean, he's done very well, in particular of late, but he's not a replacement for Harry Kane. Sign him as cover. Sign him as whatever, but not as a replacement. Wrong word, Dan the Orange Man.
Is he at that sort of level, Ings, that he could produce with a really big team, Craig?
Well, don't forget this is Danny Ings, who earned himself a move to Liverpool, but was unfortunate with a few aspects, but one of them being bad injuries or a bad injury. Shaka's right. If Harry Kane stays at Tottenham, they need other people there that can share the load. And you know, we know they've got a very tight budget. I don't know what Southampton would be looking for him if they want to sell him. Sure, they don't. But they would need players to aid and abet Harry Kane. If Harry Kane leaves, Spurs will be expecting, because there'll be a lot of Spurs fans very unhappy if they do sell him, and that's a big chance to happen. They'll get top dollar for him. They'll be expecting Tottenham to go out and sign an adequate replacement. Then they're looking for people to back up. Danny Ings would come in that category.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.